Hey folks, welcome back to Gaming Garbage, where we take a look at games, chat about the gaming news in the industry, and of course, stream for fun. Today we're talking about Clair Obscure Expedition 33, and we got it revealed directly from Sandfall themselves, the developers, of what the budget is for the game. And the thing that is crazy is actually how minimal it is. We're going to run through some examples, and I'll just have my final thoughts at the end. But the estimate back then, let's see, when was this published? So May of 25, okay, roughly 6 months ago, we were looking at an estimate of $30 to $40 million for the budget itself. And this didn't necessarily, maybe that was the total budget for the development and the marketing and the distribution and all of that other stuff. But man, it was cheap. Now, some of the marketing is definitely expensive, and distribution can definitely land quite a bit of money too. But the thing that I want to show is that if you had to guess, how much do you think? Because I bet it was more than $10 million to make the game in Unreal Engine 5. There's a lot of games that are made in Unreal Engine 5. There's a lot of studios that use that. They don't have their own to support, which, their own thing to support is definitely more expensive. But yeah, built for less than $10 million. In order to achieve that goal, and not have they didn't have the game be a true open world. They had battles that took place in specific arenas, and then also having a map at a miniature version of the explorable realm, which they did. We also got to see that with like Tiny Tina's Wonderland, one of the Borderland games in the last 5 years. So, and the fact now that it's sold also over 5 million copies, it's won a ton of money. They've definitely had insane profit margins for that. And the game is generally MSRP for $50, but they've had sales before. They also had a 20% off pre-order bonus, and it's been pretty amazing. And now it's won the Golden Joystick Awards for the Game of the Year, and also at the Game Awards. And it's just crazy that it's less than 10 million. Less than 10 million, which is wild because, when we roughly take a look at Astropod, which won Game of the Year, also a small game, a small team, and, we're looking at $50 to $75 million for the, estimate game. And again, that's an estimate. Okay. It's not perfect, but yeah, roughly 50 to 75 million. So even if we shrink that down to, half or 2/3, we're still looking at $25 million for Astrobot. Now, Astrobot is a fun game. I'm not, and it looks good. It runs well. I'm not bashing it at all. But the pure graphical fidelity of Expedition 33, like just looking at this picture, is incredible. It looks really well. It runs really well with Unreal Engine 5. And yeah, if you use Unreal Engine 5 well, it can really be quite the banger of a game and look like a AAA game with hundreds of millions pumped into it. When we take a look, too, also at Battlefield 6, we found out that they basically broke even at launch for their budget, which puts it around somewhere between $400 and $490 million for the budget itself. 100 million players, I don't think that's going to happen. But we also take a look at Borderlands 4. Well, we don't know the exact budget, but we do know what the budget was of Borderlands 3, and we do know that the budget for 4 is double that. They did at least tell us that much. Now, the budget for Borderlands 3 was $140 million, so we can probably estimate that it's around $300 million for the game. We got to know that Cyberpunk 2 2077 cost roughly about $312 million to make, or $316 million to make. And again, that wasn't the entire budget for them. They also had about $120 million in fixes and DLC. They also had about $52 million or $54 million in refunds, because again, the game was so buggy and everything. And then they still had marketing and distribution costs and all of that. So by the time you're done adding everything up, we're looking at probably somewhere between I want to say it was $500 to $600 million for the game. Now, they've made over $1 billion. So, again, they've made all of their money back. But, man, can games get it honestly very expensive. We also got to find out, too, through the Insomniac hack leak, I believe it was, that the budget for Spider-Man 3 was roughly $250 million, but it ballooned to about $312. And that was for Spider-Man 2. And again, you think of some of these games and it's like, okay, yeah, the open world is cool, like it does look good. But when you're looking at the game design, they're like, that's how we kept it so cheap. And again, they're a team of like 33 people, while Astrobot is a team of roughly about 60 or 70 people. But again, less than $10 million. I just can't wrap my head around that. Because the thing too is like we're taking a look now at GTA 6, and it is confirmed by Rockstar by Take Two officially that the budget has already exceeded $1 billion. $1 billion for the game. I just. Is that a quadruple A game now? If you hit 7 digits, congratulations, you're a quadruple A game. Um, I mean, that's a new standard. We also have Star Citizen that we know of that has already spent over $900 million and they're broke. And their game hasn't even officially released. Excuse me, it doesn't have a version 1.0. They're planning for that, but good gravy. I think also they're releasing Squadron 42, which, man, the 38-minute cinematic, that definitely costs some money. So you can kind of see where their money's going. But again, $1 billion, and it's like, is it really worth the squeeze, guys? I mean, really, is it really worth the squeeze? Because this was Game of the Year. And even for Astrobot, this won Game of the Year, and this didn't really come too close to breaking $100 million. And it's like, while some companies have said, hey, we're going to like neck down the budgets, like Sony, for example, with PlayStation, they're like, yeah, the juice isn't really worth the squeeze because we're just not getting it. And then to the affordability issues that everybody has, and to the amount of competition out there. I mean, there's literally, I think it was in 2024, there were 19,000 games just added to Steam. Now, granted, a lot of those could be what you would call pretty mid or just slop or whatever. There's stuff you're not interested in, but 19,000 games just on Steam is pretty wild. And with the expansion of opening up on the PlayStation and Xbox side, at least to some degree, over to Steam and other PC storefronts, you're just inviting more competition. The walled gardens are coming down, and so you're going to be necking down the budgets because I think it's going to become more and more rare for the companies to spend $1 billion on their game because it's really got to be a banger if they're going to ensure that they're going to, definitely make money, even with bug fixes and DLC and marketing and refunds and everything else. You still have the ability to bounce back, but it's going to be harder. Now, if you have a smaller budgeted game that's less than $10 million, well, that's going to be a lot easier to handle because now you don't have to sell so many copies. We found out too with like Chronos: The New Dawn was roughly around $27 million for a budget, and I don't remember if that included everything like marketing and etc. But $27 million for the game, and it was a pretty good game. I enjoyed that one from Bloober Team. They were also self-published as well, and they've already sold over 500 million copies. So they've probably roughly broke even, and they still need to probably make a little bit more to have some good margin there. But again, it's like it wasn't a crazy amount of money, and they did okay. They didn't need $1 million necessarily in sales. But is the juice worth the squeeze? Because then we have games where it's like this was kind of a letdown for a lot of people. This was kind of a letdown for a lot of people with the story and the antagonists and all of that stuff. And then this too has kind of been a letdown for some people because the numbers have just fallen off, and the playtime hours too, with the trackers that we have across every platform, it's all gone down, and not just a little bit, honestly, quite a lot. What is the industry going to do when they're not getting enough in sales? Because like 100 million players, I don't think they're getting anywhere near that. We also found out too that EA, Electronic Arts, is honestly being bought by the Saudi Arabian government through the PIF. These companies, they've spent hundreds of millions on live service type of stuff. I think of Suicide Squad as well. And Suicide Squad, they lost a little over $200 million. We don't know exactly what the budget was. We do know that they probably made a little bit of money, but not very much. Losing $200 million, well, at this point, not everything, too, has also been working out for other brands that Warner Brother owns, like CNN and some others. Kind of all aspects of their business are kind of crashing down, but losing over $200 million is not being overly helpful. And so, yeah, they're looking to be sold even themselves. And it looks like Netflix is going to get them. And we just have all of these acquisitions of these companies. I think, too, of like Bethesda and ZeniMax and Activision Blizzard and Ubisoft, just all of these big companies that were independent or were on their own are now being bought by even bigger companies. We're just having more and more of these mergers because, again, there's just not enough money to go around. And we're seeing, too, that things are canned actually pretty quickly. I mean, Sony now has had 3 major projects where the person has left, or like a co-founder or a lead or whatever. So yeah, it kind of gives the notion that things aren't necessarily going well, because if things are going well, you don't leave, right? So we've had one of the co-founders of Sucker Punch leave after the Ghost of Yote, which still sold several million copies. I'm sure they made plenty of money back, but something's off there. Also, we had the art director. Now that Marathon actually has a release date for March of 2026, well, he's reportedly leaving now as of yesterday. And then, man, who was the other one? Oh, yeah, there was also the Jade, who founded the studio that made Fair Games, which we still haven't heard a single word about. And it's like things are going to be canned much more quickly. And I think we're going to see somewhat of a reversion back to storytelling games because they're just cheaper to make. I mean, let's be real. The live service in this game doesn't exist. The live service in this game, it's had free DLC. It's had 4 of them, I think. And again, it doesn't really exist. The DLC that they were planning on doing was canceled because of all of the money that they spent fixing the game. So, again, story-driven games, I think, are going to be more of a focus. They're definitely more engaging for players. And while you can have a success like Arc Raiders or like Marvel Rivals or some other game, right, that's focused on live service, even something like Battlefield 6 is still going to, make their money back. But how long are they going to run the live service gambit? Is it going to be for 10 years? Probably not. We're probably going to be looking more closer to 3, and then they're going to put out something else. And yeah, the live service model just kind of seems to be breaking down. And again, just the budgets are just way bloated. I think ultimately it just shows that the industry is way over bloated. Excuse me. It's costing too much. The money is not funneling in, and as people struggle to afford milk and car insurance and their car payment and student loans coming back and no stimulus money, people are just struggling to make ends meet with the inflation that we have. And with the inflation that we do have, it's still going up, just at a slower rate. And we're kind of at this like stagflation where the economy isn't really keeping up. The inflation continues to go up because it's mandatory for certain things, or people have to have certain things, like food and the ability to have a residence or a home. They have to live somewhere. But so yeah, people are going to put less money into gaming. And the thing that was shocking too with the Black Friday sales is that we've had a lot of spending and sales down in software and also in hardware for gaming across the board. The lowest sum since 1995. 30 years ago. Also, too, with some of the software stuff since 2005, which again was 20 years ago. So the money is just not there. I think it's finally showing up in the data, and these companies, they're going to have to get more creative and make games like this. And the problem is that these studios, as they're building their reputations, they're going to be the ones that will have the leg up. And just like From Software or Larian Studios, they're kind of in hot water right now. But again, I think their game will sell just fine. But I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting going forward because I don't think the live service model can necessarily exist. And I don't think the budgets of $400 million or even $1 billion are really going to be worth the squeeze. And I think even GTA 6 is going to be a little bit of a letdown for some people. I still think people are going to be excited, but I don't think they will match GTA 5. I think that's impossible. Because again, the design is different now. The transitions that GTA 5 has had in the last 13, almost 14 years is that it's gone from a game, an experience, and has shifted over again to live service. And people can feel it. I've had some friends that have quit. And they're not planning on getting GTA 6. They'll stay with GTA 5 or play some of the older GTAs, or just play some other games. And two, not everyone's excited about GTA 6 in the first place. They don't play GTA, right? They're just not into that. And then with the focus, even probably heavier focus of live service, like with what we've seen with Battlefield. Again, here's just another example of just it's going to be live service to death. And it could kill the game if they're not careful. I mean, we'll have to see what happens. But anyway, thanks for tuning in, folks. You can always follow me over at Gaming Garbage 22 over YouTube if you'd like. And if some content isn't for you, as various content comes out every week, don't sweat it. You can just skip right on through and move on to the next thing. Again, there's various content every single week. And we have playlists as well if you'd like to see that broken up. But we have news and we have States of Gaming and we have reviews, me, myself, and I, and then also playthroughs as well. So be sure to look out too that I'll have a video pretty soon on showing what you guys are going to be voting for in January for my game to do a full review on, where I do an initial look after some playtime, and then I do a full review when I've actually finished the game. Also, you can follow me over at Twitch if you'd like it. Don't turn on the. And then, yeah, when I'm playing video games, I definitely chat with you guys. But if you'd rather just also be a silent partner, that's okay as well. But yeah, what do you guys think? Is the juice worth the squeeze? I'll see you guys on the next one.